Hey, what's up everybody? It's Nick Davenport, aka Mr. Mental Muscle. Now today I want to teach you how to be a narcissist. And you're probably thinking, wait, why would I want to be that? Isn't that a bad thing? Yes, but I think if I teach you how to be one, you'll be better at identifying one, because this term gets used so much and it gets used so flippantly that it's starting to lose meaning. So we need to be better at understanding what it actually is. So the point of this is to understand how to think like one, you can identify one, and hopefully not be one. So let's talk about the history of the term narcissist. Now, there was an ancient Greek myth of a guy named Narcissus, and he was the most beautiful man in the land. He would look at his reflection in the water for hours on end, just admiring himself, seeing how great he looked, and just be infatuated with himself. Now, there was a nymph named Echo that fell in love with Narcissus, and she would follow him around and enjoy his presence, but Narcissus didn't have time for that. He only cared about himself and nothing else. Now, Nemesis, which is the Greek god of revenge, would say, you know what? You like looking at yourself? I'm going to punish you to, for all eternity, stare at this reflection of yourself. And eventually Narcissus would turn into a flower right there in front of the pond where he'd stare at his reflection. And that flower would be called the narcissus, which is an actual plant that you can find in the real world. But basically you see the concept. You get so caught up with yourself, nothing else matters. You put yourself on a higher pedestal, you don't get anything done. You don't make it further in life, and you just become a plant, literally. And in the real world, you can kind of see that carryover with people who are narcissists. Now, there's something called narcissistic personality disorder, which is a clinical term with the traits of a narcissist. Now, the difference with this is just having narcissistic traits and being a clinical disorder is the pervasive. The T turd is a pervasive pattern, meaning it influences your everyday life on all aspects, your social, your emotional, your mental health, your physical, how you just look at yourself internally. So every aspect is affected, and usually this means you probably won't form good friendships, you won't have good connection with your family, it'll be hard to keep a job, just people to enjoy you. So this is the clinical aspect. But when we talk about these traits, this is more so just what to look for as the traits that make up someone who has narcissistic tendencies. So let's get into how to be a narcissist. Now, one, you need a lack of empathy. So if someone comes to you one day and says, hey, I'm going through a lot, I just need a shoulder to cry on, someone to talk to, someone to lean on, listen to them and be like, you know what? None of that matters. I got worse things going on. I don't really care about that. Because a narcissist is not empathetic. They're not gonna be able to give information or insight into your situation, because a lot of times we want someone to lean on. We just want an ear, really. But a narcissist is gonna be like, that's whatever. Either they're gonna belittle your problem or just be like, I got better things going on. Who cares? I don't really see what the big deal is. So make sure you're not empathetic. Two, manipulative behavior. Now this is a big one. Make sure you use everyone to your advantage, even if it means making them do worse. You see where I'm going with this? Because a narcissist, they're gonna be able to see, hey, I need to get to goal A, but if I gotta step on you, use your resources, or just manipulate the situation so it favors me, regardless of what happens to you, make sure you do that. You gotta make sure the person that you're using gets the least benefit and you get the most. It doesn't matter if you lie, cheat, steal, long as you get your outcome. Number three, have a large sense of grandiosity. This means having that God complex. Look at people like peasants. They're nothing to you. They should worship the ground you walk on. Just like the story of Narcissus, he thought he was the best thing on earth and he's the only thing that mattered. You need to do the same, because if you give any inclination that you aren't the best or you aren't a god amongst people, then they're gonna think less of you. And you're a narcissist, right? You need them to think of you like a celebrity and they're just your fans. Now, number four kind of goes hand in hand with that. Do attention-seeking behavior. Not only do you need to know you're the best, you need to make sure the whole world does it. When you enter the room, be loud, be outspoken. Make sure you talk about you in the conversation. Make sure you do things that make you stand out. We live in a day of social media, so make sure you take a lot of selfies. Make sure you make a lot of videos on how your life is so great and there's nothing better than what you're doing. Because the more attention you seek, the more eyes that are on you to know and adhere to that you're the best. Because remember, the whole goal is for the world to know how great you are, because you are a narcissist. Now, number five, a lack of accountability. Because, you're a god, you're the best thing to ever happen. You can't be wrong. If something goes wrong, something gets messed up, it's because the world's wrong. It's not just you. If 20 people tell you did something incorrect, you're gonna be like, nah, I'm the best. It couldn't be me. It's got to be the other 20 people. There's no way I could be incorrect in what I'm thinking or how I carry it out or feel about you. So be completely unaccountable for your actions. Blame others. Things that are in your control, blame them on external, and things that are not in your control that happen good to you, make sure you take all the credit. It's like someone in a group project and you put in little to no effort, but when everyone gets an A, you're like, yeah, guys, I knew we could do it. That's you. Be that person. No accountability. Number 6, envy. Be envious, because guess what? Even though you're God's gift to the world, you're the best thing smoking. When someone has something great happen to them, you got to take that attention away because you're an attention seeker, and you're going to make them feel bad because guess what? You don't want them to have the glory. So you might be envious of them. You got to make it known. You got to make it seem like, you didn't do nothing that great. I could have done that too, because guess what? I'm the best. So make sure you stomp on people's dreams and make them feel bad to show that your envy is not a bad thing. It's something that makes them feel bad, but it makes you feel good inside. And number 7, this last one we'll talk about is the inability to take criticism. Because how could you get criticized? You're the best. Remember that. You're a narcissist. This is how you have to act. If someone says, hey, that was cool, but maybe you could do it this way, even if you know it could help you, how dare they talk against you and your greatness? You are the best. Remember that. So don't take any criticism. And if you hear it, reshape it into something positive. They say, hey, I don't think you're the best for this job. Rebuttal with, nah, this job is just stupid. So you gotta make it known that the criticism doesn't matter. And if they do hit a nerve with you, make sure you turn it back on them to make it feel like they're full of nonsense and they're not gonna get it done because, they suck and you're the greatest. Now, these 7 different traits, it may sound crazy, and I guess I illustrated in a way that, hey, you're becoming this. That was the point. Because if you understand these traits, and if you even exemplify them in real life, like this was just, to be funny, but it'll help you understand because now you know these are the behaviors, this is what a narcissist does. You may be identify it in other people, maybe even yourself. We all to some extent exemplify some of those traits, maybe at a much lower level because it's not a clinical diagnosis, but from a subclinical standpoint, there's times where we do use other people and maybe manipulate them for better gain. And this is not a good thing, but that's literally how humans socialize, and this is how we gain things in life. But be insightful about how you move and make sure it's not to the point where you're really distancing and hurting people, because I've been guilty of that. We all have, probably to some extent. So that's why it's important to understand what it takes to be one. So we can always talk about don't be one, but if we understand how to be a narcissist, it can help us understand to go about it in our daily lives to make sure we're not getting used by one or becoming one. Because just like in a story with narcissists, it cost him. And in our daily lives, do we want to be cost our friends and family or a loved one or an opportunity for a job? Because who wants to work with a person who is condescending and belittles people? Because the main point of this show, remember, is to put this into practice with everyday life. And while this was kind of being funny and different, the main goal is to get your mind right. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.